I remember, and this was all mounds, just mounds of earth, and this was all just mounds of earth with loads of bluebells that on the way back from school I and my friends would pick for our mums. Almost 50 years ago now, my mum and dad moved into this road, Longmead Way, on the Trenchwood estate in North Tonbridge, Kent. Lots of memories. We're thinking about talking plainly about Jesus, the good news that God loves us all, and this last Sunday we've been thinking about John chapter 1, where John writes about Jesus coming to the earth. He says, "The Word became flesh and made his dwelling amongst us." Words there, the title for Jesus is the Greek logos, from which we get the English word logic. And John is basically saying Jesus is the most logical way God can show us what he's like. The way Jesus treats women, children, outsiders, foreigners. That's the way God treats them. And that word, Jesus, became flesh, became a human being like us, so that he could experience all that we experience and still live a perfect life. He made his dwelling amongst us, that verse says in John chapter 1. The Word became flesh and made his dwelling amongst us. The word dwelling there is tabernacled, and it's the tent of meeting in the Old Testament that is being referred to, the place that Moses went to when the Jewish people were in the wilderness for 40 years, and the cloud of God would come down on that tent of meeting, that tabernacle, and Moses would meet with God, and all of the people knew that God was meeting with them. When Jesus came to the earth, he met with us. The Message version of that passage says that Jesus moved into the neighbourhood. I love that earthy, normal language, that Jesus moved into the neighbourhood. And that's what we need to do if we're going to share our faith. We know that this God is love, and we need to share him with the people that we live with in our ordinary, normal lives, in our neighbourhoods, our home, our workplace, the school gate, where we have a coffee, all of those places. Jesus moved into the neighbourhood, and we need to as well. The passage goes on to say that they saw his glory, and his glory was that he was full of grace and truth. We too need to be full of grace and truth, not just full of grace and not just full of truth, letting it all slide or being judgmental at either end of the spectrum. We need to be full of both as we move into the neighbourhood. So what will you do? What will I do as we live our normal everyday lives in our neighbourhoods? Let's share Jesus with others as we live lives filled with grace and truth in the neighbourhoods that we live in. Take care, and God bless.